Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, Doc and Prof celebrate 100 episodes with some of their favorite moments. NBA playoffs are underway and the coaching carousel is back, and so much more starting now.
Did I hear someone say that Debate Amongst Friends has hit that magical century mark? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Debate Amongst Friends live on YouTube, and this is the 100th episode of the Sports Podcast. We've made it, ladies and gentlemen, 100 episodes in. We definitely appreciate everyone who decided to join us during the years that we've been doing the show. But the show must go on. I am your moderator, the Professor John Gotti, and always by my side, I can tell you right now, he's big time, but he's definitely no 7-foot catchphrase. It's the Doc. How you doing tonight, sir? Doc Ocean, are you there?
That was a climatic build, sir, to my excitement about the 100th episode of Debate Amongst Friends. I am so excited that I had to let the anticipation build.
I mean,
but I'm ready, sir.
Sometimes you just have to let it rain before it pours.
But as normal, I am ready to give my daily dose of reality. And it's my understanding Chris just let me know that he actually let someone in the building today.
What? Wait, security let someone into the studio right now? Wait a minute. Who the heck? Who is this guy?
Oh my god.
Making a reveal like he is some sort of CN almus.
Oh my goodness. From the Markville state.
From the state of Marklahoma themselves, it is J Rich, aka J Ritty, whoop.
Who apparently has reads.
Who apparently has reads now. Make sure you catch all the Debate Amongst Friends merchandise out there at teesprings.com. Make sure you pick up your Gotti Got Reads and Doc Got Reads t-shirt as well, too. Just wanted to throw that little pitch in there.
Yeah, and Ritty. Don't forget Ritty's got reads.
I mean, well, it's not a t-shirt yet. I mean, we gotta talk to Scott about that.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah, apparently there's multiple t-shirts in the works, but,
Boom, including trash.
Trash. R-O-M-A. Oh, wait.
No hate, though. No hate.
No.
But how you doing, though, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, do not adjust your Google Play, your YouTube, your iTunes, or whatever app that you're listening to today. This is your weekly Debate Amongst Friends show. And I am making a special guest appearance here. I couldn't miss this for the world. 100 episodes? 100 episodes. So you telling me y'all have done 104 episodes already?
Probably more, really. In reality.
Like 102.
Probably 105, somewhere like that. Because there were some in the beginning, that were done. There were some in the middle that were kind of done, but we kind of just didn't include them officially with Debate Amongst Friends.
Yep.
Exactly. Just like our sponsors.
There was some that were just too controversial for, podcasting. I mean, after the show we got dragged into Helen's office. She sat us down. She said, "Guys, it was a good show, but we can't post it." I was like, "Well, but Helen, why?" She was like, "Professor, I understand that you got the reads, Doc, I understand that you beat-domed the world, but if we put it out there, I'm going to have to shut down the stream. So those episodes will not be shown.
Absolutely. I mean, and just thinking about it, I mean, 100 episodes. I mean, there are so many different shows that we had, so many different topics that we've covered over these 100 episodes. Um, I, Professor, I'm gonna let you go first, so make sure I don't steal your spotlighted or your highlight of the 100 episodes.
I
Thinking
mean,
back, what was one of your favorite memories of Debate Amongst Friends?
talking about evolution, which was a mystery for the first time. Introducing the
Evolution.
world to I know, and I had to do that for you too.
You did. That's
Talking
perfect.
about esports or the FGC fighting game community or just competitive video game, however you want to identify it. Something that I'm still rather passionate about. Maybe not so much about Street Fighter as much because of how the scenes is starting to sour, but
Hmm.
at that time it was at the peak of its renaissance, and being able to talk about those plus other games at that time, especially the fact that we was there, it was incredible, and it's something that I'm always going to hold dear to me.
Excellent. I think that's great. I enjoyed Evolution. Excuse me. I enjoyed Evolution. I also enjoyed, seeing the rise and fall of several fighting game,
Oh no,
really experts.
Doc, they
His
might be listening right now.
uh,
You can't be saying stuff like that.
experts. These guys are the best of the best. You can't be just some guy who just picked up the sticks named Doc to come and challenge the top guys who just so happen to look
You
like
look
piss
like a
ants when you
vincent.
stand next to them. Um, but over 100 episodes, you might ruffle a little feathers. But it's all in good fun, though. I believe it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh, but I think one of the favorite things that I've come to love about the show, outside of the music, which I came up with this great idea today, and I'm actually going to publish it and give you guys it live. I haven't even told the professor about it yet.
Cadete, no.
We are actually going to create a Debate Amongst Friends playlist so that you can have access to each and every song that we played on the shows in a playlist. You have to subscribe to our channel and listen to all the music that we played on the show, at least 85 songs. So these are some of the songs that the professor has chosen, some of the songs that I've chosen. I mean, there's going to be all listed here. We're going to put it out there by the end of this week. So hit that like, subscribe, follow, and you're going to be getting exclusive listen to the songs that we have chosen for all of our shows.
I mean, within the next hour, I mean, that sounds like a golden idea.
I mean, I didn't want to go there. I mean, that's a part of our past that I'm trying to leave in the past. Um, that's when I was a lunatic in Fringe.
Oh my! Wow! Wow! I can't believe you went there.
And that was actually before Jay Rich's time, so I can
This was
just shed
before J
light.
Rich. Yes.
Jay Rich, this is why we can't just go around choosing any great song that we hear to play on the show, or you'll be a lunatic infringer like me, making wacky faces.
Yes. He tends to make YouTube pretty upset.
Yes,
We
because
have to
that'll get
make
your
sure
show
that the
that'll get your show put in YouTube jail for
yes,
24 to 48
it'll
hours.
be written into the death note and rendered obsolete.
But I thought that was a good opportunity for us to not only give our fans a look into some of the music that we've chosen, but also give that extra credit to some of the artists here, just to let them know that, hey, we appreciate them and them letting us use their music, of course.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, but my favorite, I think my favorite part of the show, if I can go over all 100 episodes,
All 100.
would have had to been the interview with Ashley I mean, how remarkable was it to talk with somebody from a different country who, although didn't know a lot of the things that were happening in America as far as, the Colin Kaepernick situation at the time, but to hear the differences of views on players like LeBron James and Michael Jordan and even his love for wrestling, it was interesting. And we even found out that he was called the Big Boss Man. Like, it was fantastic. Um, and that's one of the highlights, I would say, of the show since we've been doing it. I mean, of course, the jokes, the laughs, the good times, but that interview there made us feel really international. Like we took our, I think at that point we took our show to the next level.
Absolutely, and big shout outs to Ashley I, always helping cross promote our products, and we're doing the same thing with his. Um, to not only get a chance to just speak with him, like just to even outside the show and just having conversation with him
Yes.
is just something that's just incredible, and that's something that it's something that a great man once said, money cannot buy.
I think for season 3 of Debate Amongst Friends, or even an episode maybe of Marking Out Amongst Friends, I think the one guy we have to target this year is Mega Ran.
Absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
somehow we've got to get Mega Ran and see if he is, really a mark or a smart.
I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you said that.
I mean, because sometimes I'm not even gonna go there. I'm just gonna stop right there. Um, that would have been way too controversial.
I
I
mean,
mean,
sometimes, it could be dark outside, but joy comes in the morning.
yeah, I was gonna say sometimes you have to enjoy these times.
No!
You said
No!
that's what I was gonna say, but
No!
there's some Romanites out there that you
Hmm.
just can't argue with.
But I
But you
mean,
have to, you
and
really do have to enjoy these moments.
absolutely, and one of the biggest things that I'm definitely, will take away from these 100 episodes is just the journey that we went through. From us going from, you know, being hesitant about actually doing the show to actually doing the show, for us actually doing it on Mixler, uh, trying to condense basically what we do now, almost a 2.5 hour show every single week now, down to an hour, and just growing from there. We had to learn on the fly. Like, there was
We really
no training wheels with this. And the fact that, we've now reached 100 episodes, it just speaks volumes in our evolution.
evolution. That's so funny because I was listening to some of the, you know, shows in the beginning, and I mean, talking about promos, like I think if we went back and replayed clips of those funny moments, I mean, there were some
There
hilarious
was
moments.
a
Me just
lot
looking
of
back
funny
and listening
moments.
to it, I don't even remember us even talking about it. I don't even remember some of the intros that you did, but just listening to the intros, and we're gonna definitely be trying to launch a website, for season 3, and try to get some of those things out there. But just listening to some of the things that we said in the beginning, it was just like, wow, wow. But big shout outs. I think that this is just one of those things that we have to just continue to grow. I mean, we've done a great job. We got new shows now. We're going to continue to build more. I know Jay Rich is excited about the direction of marking out, which we might have to rename smarking out because I learned the definition. Um, and I mean, we're going to keep moving forward.
Absolutely. I mean, one step forward, never steps back. Knick knack, patty whack, give a dog a bone. I almost did a, I
Oh
almost
my
did a,
goodness.
don't be a menace line. I'm sorry, I can't.
Wow.
Woo. Um,
Oh,
but I mean, let's shift. the attention from ourselves, because we could talk for hours about how we feel about the
Really
show.
can't.
Let's get the perception, the view, the POV of someone who just joined the Debate Amongst Friends family this year, actually,
Hmm.
full time. Let's get his perspective of all this.
Yeah.
No problem, no problem. Uh, I don't really have as many moments as everyone else has amongst the Made Amongst Friends. Like you said, I just joined the family this year, so obviously, my favorite moments not to, be any type of narcissist or anything are going to be, the first time that you let me come on the show. Um, I mean, actually, it's more so just because it was just a great experience for me to actually get on. I was nervous, as Gotti was stating before. It was like one of those moments where, do you want to do it? Do you not want to do it? And you guys were like, to me, the experts, which you still are. And it was like, man, I just don't want to get on here and just totally bomb. But it was just a great moment for you guys to let me come on the show and talk about wrestling. I'm a wrestling fanatic. If they ended TV tomorrow and there was only one thing left on TV, of course, I would probably pick wrestling over anything else. Um, but yeah, man, 100 shows, more power to you. Uh, Hope we can make it to 200. I definitely want to be around for the whole ride. Definitely thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to host Marking Out Amongst Friends myself. I see the viewership is growing on your show, which is growing on my show because of the growing on your show. And I just can't wait to see the growth in the future. Uh, that's pretty much all I got. You guys continue to rock out, man. Doc
Hey,
and the Prof.
hey, I appreciate it, Sarah. Of course, we'll definitely be there to mark and smark out as much as possible. Again, just learned the definition, so I'm just making sure to expand my wrestling vocabulary. But yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate it. We do have, others that wanted to join, but because of a conflict of scheduling, we could not get them to join. Um, but we definitely appreciated, Machiavelli. You know, um, we appreciated Senor
Octubre.
October, and of course, we definitely appreciated Q Mart for his basketball insight. And J5, don't forget about J5.
Don't forget about J5
J5.
now. You don't want to
Yeah, I
be
mean,
ignored now. I mean,
our
granted,
resident Cowboy fan.
granted, it would have been great to have him on the show to talk about the Des Bryant situation, but
It would have been. Maybe we'll get him a good reaction after Dez gets signed to a
I
team that's
mean,
not the Cowboys.
from what I was able to see from the Weather Channel, it was snowing with salt out in New Jersey.
I'm sure. And it's funny, and as I posted on my page, typically I would want every player to go to one of my teams. But this was just one of those situations where I was just like, I don't want Dez. But I think we should definitely carry on. I think we had a lot of moments, and I'm sure more moments will come up as we continue. Obviously, we've done probably about 50 to 60 episodes of LeBron.
Yes, unfortunately so.
Probably about 20 to 30 episodes where we mentioned the name Roman
Lebanon
Reigns, where we
and
mentioned Roman Reigns and Lebanon and the big dog.
wait,
Yes.
you want me to do it? You want me to say it?
Please. Please.
We're talking about the guy who's called the Big Dog.
Wow. But I think the growth of our characters too. I mean, you think about it. In the beginning, we were name dropping. I mean, it was terrible.
Mm.
But the evolution of Doc Ocean, Dr. Wednesday Night, John Gotti, the Professor John Gotti, the King of RNG, the Troll Master, the Data Analyzer Ninja, the Conqueror of his own fate.
I thought it was
I
destiny.
mean, either way, you
I mean,
conquered it.
maybe it's because you don't want me to be, El Patron with the whole destiny speech.
I don't think anyone is El Patron.
Hilarious.
I think Patron has been deleted from all avenues of wrestling. So no El Patron in here. But I mean, I was just listening to again our podcast, and I remember as we started to go into and develop the Professor John Gotti, persona. I mean, when you really look at it, it's grown exponentially. I mean, I went from just the doc, Dr. Wednesday Night, and then that magical sickness
Weak,
or cold
yes.
that I had that led me to Doc Ocean. I mean, Jay Rich, did you
Incredible.
even know that story? How I became Doc Ocean?
No, do enlighten me, please.
So basically, I had a cold one day, and my voice really sounded terrible, like really really raspy. And I think on the show, I think I said I sound like Doc Rivers, and I think it literally just came out like I guess I'm Doc Ocean. Like it was really terrible. Like really really terrible my voice, but it was like the show must go on. And technically, I think in the 2 years that we've basically been doing this, I think it's 2 years next month that we've been doing this. I think we've only missed, outside of holidays, maybe a show or two. We've been doing this pretty consistently, but that's how I got the name. I was sick one day, and the show had to go on, but I sounded like Doc Rivers. Therefore, Doc Ocean
Was born.
was born.
I'm just imagining you talking like Doc Rivers right now, and it's just blowing me right.
I think that's gonna be when we create this network, because we're gonna create this business among friends, debate amongst friends, this network, and when I do my biography, I'm gonna make sure I find that episode. I'm sure it was somewhere within the first 25 to 30 episodes. I didn't hear it this morning and yesterday when I was going through them, but I'm almost sure it was earlier on, and I was so sick that day, and I was just like, well, I mean, I'm here and just trying to make it, and um, Doc Ocean. But it's perfect though. It's perfect. But we do have, again, I'm sure other things are going to come up while we're talking, of course. But I mean, we do have a playoffs that is underway. Obviously, this is coming down to the end of our season two as the NBA playoffs, you know, um, really represent the end of our season. So once the NBA playoffs is over, the season two would be over, which will probably end around, I don't know, somewhere about episode 108, I guess 110 or somewhere around
Something like
there.
that. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So any surprises so far in the playoffs?
I mean,
Surprises. Um, I think everybody is pretty much where they would be at, and where I see things. Um, I pretty much who I knew without Kawhi Leonard. Of course, I want to talk about the Spurs first.
Mm,
Without Kawhi Leonard, I didn't expect the Spurs to put up much of a fight, or I don't expect them to put up much of a fight, even with the Warriors missing Steph Curry as well. It's just Kawhi was the heart and soul of that team. It's just like I pretty much expected a sweep on that one. The competitiveness of the series right now with Indiana and Cleveland, I think Cleveland's up right now. They're looking to tie that series up. Uh,
that's correct. The Pacers are actually down just 10. When I was watching the score, I think Cleveland scored the first 13 points.
LeBron scored
And
like the first 11 points.
yeah, so they were up 13 to nothing. So just the fact that the Pacers are only down 12 now is something else. But I think I want to point my attention to another Western series, though, the Pelicans and the Trailblazers. I think the Trailblazers came in really hot. I think down the stretch they began to lose some of their steam because I think Dame was out a few games with an injury, but Anthony Davis and Rajon Rondo, which I believe the professor said he was an X factor.
I did. I
Mm-hmm.
did say that. In fact, I said that last
Because
week.
he's got reads.
I do.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He does. He does have reads. But how crazy is it that the Trailblazers are down 0-2, in which we know when you go down 0-2, usually there's no coming back from that.
Yep.
Especially
And
in the first round.
that's in the first round, that's in the FGC, and that's just in life, period.
Just in life, period.
But what do you guys think about the Trailblazers and their struggle so far?
I mean, it just looks like Dame and CJ McCollum, dynamic scores it's just not happening for them. And it's rough for them. But and everyone's been raving about it. I had a chance to watch like First Take and Undisputed. Listen to that pissant Stephen A. Smith. I'm still calling you out, Stephen A. Smith. Come get me. 100 episodes in, still calling out Stephen A. Smith.
What does come at me, bro, mean?
Come at me, bro, Siv. But everyone was raving about Drew Holiday. Like,
Right. Mm-hmm.
first of all, completely disrespecting his game. You don't he's a professional basketball player. First of all, you just don't disrespect him like that. There's a reason why he's playing in the league.
True.
But secondly, they're like, well, I didn't know that he had defensive prowess like this. I'm like, but you literally just said that he was a great defender coming out of college. Like, what kind of oxymoron, belligerent poo-poo comment is that?
Well, just to play devil's advocate,
Absolutely.
Aaron Afwalo is also a professional basketball player.
He shouldn't be picked. He's in the same tier system as Mario Chalmers.
Kevin Ollie was a professional basketball player.
This is true. That's true. I mean, Ollie was okay. I mean, he didn't get stepped over like some coaches we know.
I mean, he's trying to
but
make sure his boy doesn't get stepped over.
But he was okay. But I mean, I don't know. I do agree though. I think Drew Holiday. I think he was actually very, very good since he's joined the league. I don't think this is a coming out party for any of these guys.
Nope.
I really think it's Anthony Davis tired of New Orleans not being taken seriously. I guess in the offseason, I would be curious to see what they do with Boogie Cousins. But that's neither here nor there.
I mean, and I think they're going to try to keep him. I mean, they would be a higher seed
with Boogie.
They
would definitely be a higher seed with Boogie.
And, with both AD and Boogie both healthy, yeah, they'd be a way higher seed. Last year was more of an anomaly because they, had to try to gel mid-season. That's totally different.
True.
I mean, what it comes down to, maybe this is a hot take, maybe, or not, but, Anthony Davis is probably, in my opinion, the third best player in the league, behind LeBron and possibly behind James Harden on some nights.
That's what I'm talking about.
James Harden.
Okay. All right.
I couldn't give you too much praise. You're too much.
I saw that.
But Anthony Davis has been putting Anthony Davis numbers up since Anthony Davis has been in the league. It's just that his team has never made the playoffs and did any real damage. I think before this season, what the Pelicans have made the playoffs once before this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like he was playing on an island, and with Drew Holiday with his personal issues behind him now, and he's getting a chance to not be the focal point of the offense like he was, in Philly. He can really, when he's just finding his way into the game, He plays a lot better. Rondo, of course, being a facilitator out there. Both of those guys pretty good defensively. I mean, it was a very quiet but smart moves to extend Holiday and to sign Rajon Rondo for both of those teams. I mean, the Pelicans can definitely be a dangerous team uh, in the Western Conference right now.
I definitely concur with that. It's just interesting.
Absolutely, I will agree with that. I mean, but let's take a moment to get away from Drew Holiday. Let's talk about the other guard, and Jay Rich just mentioned him, Rajon Rondo, the quote unquote diva.
I mean, when he's not tripping, he's great. I mean, but sometimes to win a championship, you need somebody that's going to be willing to trip, I guess. I mean, there's the Draymond Greens of the world. There was the Ron Artest.
The Bruce Bowens.
The Bruce Bowens, exactly. You know,
the Steven Jack, Captain Jack.
Exactly. I guess you need that. Like I think Rajon Rondo gave the Celtics an edge when he was there. I think he gave the Kings, the Bulls, every other team that he was. I think he gave them all an edge. It's just really I guess a matter of how much can you take. You know, how much can you take until he really pushes you over the edge, like the classic trying to get into somebody's huddle or arguing, getting technicals, getting thrown out of the game. It's like it's not a matter of maturity. It's just a matter of him actually, really, when you think about it, being a '90s basketball player.
Yes.
I think he's playing well because they know what they have in Rondo in New Orleans. I think that in Sacramento he didn't have the talent that he had when he was in Boston, so people expected a lot more out of him. In Chicago, you had Dwayne Wade. Dwayne's used to being the guy who was, bringing the ball up the floor all the time.
True.
I mean, then you have Michael Carter Williams that was out there. The backcourt was crowded, which Michael Carter Williams is pretty trash. I don't even know why I brought him up.
Can I be honest? Michael Carter Williams had a spark when he started, but now he's just garbage. If you think about it, when he first came in, he was actually really getting triple doubles before triple doubles were cool for a rookie in Philadelphia.
I mean, he's a 6'6" point guard. You should.
But then they gave up on him, though. Like they gave up on him. I think in his second or third year.
Here comes the Pacers.
I see that. I mean, but and I think I spoke to. Let's see. I gotta create a nickname for him. Oh, the LeBronomaniac, the local LeBronomaniac that I just added to the group, but not too long ago.
The resident NC Brony.
Yes, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Are we talking about your boy MS?
Yes. Yes, MS. Sam's. He actually is a LeBron fan, which I'm very, I can be respectful of him being a LeBron fan. He didn't say he was a Cavs fan. He said specifically, I'm a LeBron fan. But he said when he was watching the game, he literally turned it off in the second quarter because he knew they were going to lose. So at this point, I don't think he's turned the game off just yet, but it's probably getting close.
That's actually pretty funny.
But I'm glad we're not talking about the Cavs, though. I mean, I think there's some other good games. I mean, speaking of Philadelphia, obviously they're tied 1-1 with the Heat. We knew that anyone playing the Heat was going to have to battle, and I think that's why we talked about the Cavs not wanting to play the Heat, even though ESPN really wanted it really badly.
ESPN, CBS Sports, even though they still can't check their references. I mean,
they really, really wanted Heat versus Cavs just to talk about LeBron versus Wade. That's all they wanted, and we knew it too.
Yeah.
but that's what they wanted. But I mean, talk about what the 76ers are going to do. I mean, obviously Embiid is getting fed up with him not being able to play. He feels like they're babying him.
He's
I
definitely gonna
mean,
play. He's playing now. He's gonna play.
going to play. I mean, because there's another rookie out there who plays for the Jazz who, I mean, he had to fight with the coach to get put back in the game.
Yep.
I don't know if Embiid's actually fighting with the coach, but you have to appreciate Mitchell's confidence with the Jazz for fighting the coach. Like, they sent him to the locker room. He came back. He said, Coach, man, I'm good, man. Forget that hamstring. If I lose it, I lose it. I mean, Coach, do you see Paul George out there? He's killing us. I can guard him with a bad hamstring, with a bad calf, with a bad foot, no pinky toe. What?
Shot my
Speaking
pinky
of
toe.
that series, are the Jazz? Should the Jazz be this competitive with the Thunder, or are the
No.
Thunder underperforming?
Well, it depends. Q-Mart said that Thunder would be overhyped 6th seed. And for the most part, he was correct. But I think last week, the Professor John Gotti gave a lot of credit to Quinn Snyder, the Jazz coach, for really being able to build this team after the loss of Gordon Hayward. And I mean, I hate to say it like this, and I'm sure you guys and maybe some others are going to give me some flack for saying this, but I feel like Gordon Hayward got a karma charger.
Wow.
Gordon Hayward is
You know what? No,
he's a
you know what?
little overrated.
That is so Doc right there because Caleb Parsons.
Oh yes, exactly, exactly. Now you're that's
Had
perfect.
an
That's a great
eerily
analogy.
same situation, and this guy right across from me, the
Yeah.
Doc, delivered the B dorm before a B dorm was ever a B dorm.
Let me tell you, Jay Rich, I'm glad he brings that up because that was definitely within the 100, and I'm gonna keep it 100. When
Oh,
Chandler Parsons
Chandler Parsons.
was on the Rockets, I remember he gave up that big shot to Damian Lillard in the playoffs at like 1, 2 in the morning. I remember it like it was yesterday, and then that's when Dame came and daggered it, and it felt like my hand. That was my hand in Dame's face because they didn't know how to switch on a pick and roll. But when Chandler Parsons went to the enemy Dallas Mavericks, I was so angry that I said, you know what? We don't need him. He was garbage anyway.
He literally said that verbatim, by the way.
And to tell you, and I'm a sportsman, so usually I don't celebrate when people get hurt. But to tell you how the Mavericks bad investing in him was karma because of his injuries. Like literally, I don't think he played probably more than 50 games that whole contract. And even in Memphis, he's garbage. He's definitely not the same player. I think had he waited and stayed around and played in Houston in this system, he would have been lights out. But for us to get Trevor Ariza and some of these other guys back, I'm so happy that Daryl Morey, with his terrible self, got a chance to do the right thing, Spike Lee style.
Wow. Are we now quoting stuff like this? Are we really doing this? Is this happening tonight?
Do the right thing and get rid of people. Because think about it, if we would have invested that and paid him $25 million, I mean, we would have been stuck with him. We probably would have kept Dwight. I mean, who knows the trickle down effect of bad decisions that would have came after that. So it's great that we didn't pay him. I'm really happy. I think that was the year we were going after Chris Bosh or Carmelo Anthony, and we missed on everybody. And we
I
wound up
think it was
just getting,
Carmelo. It was Carmelo.
yeah. And we were just missing left and right on people, and that's when we wound up with Ryan Anderson.
Ryan Anderson is a great role player, and like you said, a lot less on the price tag than Chandler Parsons was.
Well, I'm glad you say that, Jay Rich, because being that you say that, it would be great if we could work out a deal between the Rockets and the Spurs, where we send Ryan Anderson over to the Spurs for Kawhi, of course.
I said he was worth his contract when it compares to Chandler Parsons. We're not talking about a Finals MVP and a Defensive Player of the Year in this instance.
I just wanted to make
But then
sure you
again,
weren't saying that he deserved to be a Spur
oh, I mean, he could definitely play in San Antonio.
for
Um,
Kawhi.
no,
Okay, this
maybe
one
maybe for Patty Mills, maybe yes.
I don't want Patty Mills. Patty Mills is trash.
Patty
T
Mills
A
would fit.
S. Wait,
He would fit so well into Houston's offense, though.
he's he's an enemy. We don't want him. We don't want
Until he signed, and he's
him. For real. And then he's like the best point guard ever. He saves us $20 million, and we're able to get whoever else. I get it. I get what you're saying. But let's look at the last two or three series here. I'm actually surprised by how good the Celtics are playing without Kyrie. They're good. We knew they were good, but I'm impressed at how these young Bucks have stepped up with some veteran presence. Obviously, I don't believe in Al Horford, but they're able to beat the Bucks, who I guess will be still fishing for a new coach, which we'll definitely talk about later. But obviously, the Bucks. It wasn't just Jason Kidd. Let's just put it like that. I know Q-Mart blamed Jason Kidd, but can we all agree that it's not just Jason Kidd?
I don't know how well I can agree with that.
I mean, he's not there anymore, and they're still not performing great.
They're not performing great, but I think is that I can't think of the team that it was a few years ago. It was probably Philly. I think that they've fallen in that category that Philly fell into a few years ago when they stocked up too much in the big man market. And I think that with the Bucks, they stocked too much kind of into the wing department, and they're trying to make it work by moving those guys around, changing them from small forward to shooting guard or to power forward. I never liked Jabari Parker as a power forward in the NBA in this game. Even though he can fit in a small ball game, he's definitely your wing guy that you want to depend on. I actually think that he's underused, and that's a lot to say coming from a UNC fan about a Duke player. But
Dang right.
Jabari Parker is definitely underused out there. But I mean, you got him, you got Middleton, you got Giannis.
They got Eric Bledsoe. I mean, they're a stacked team. And I think they got some young bucks on the bench. But I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I feel like that's more of the West play. Outside of San Antonio and maybe Portland, I think a lot of teams play, a smaller four. Like you even look at the Rockets. You look at the Warriors. I think that's the new, almost the new equation, the new model. Like, you want your point guard to be, not the average size, but, point guards are now coming out 6'3" to 6'5". Your shooting guards are 6'5" to 6'8". Your small forwards are 6'5" to 6'8" also. But power forwards nowadays are 6'8", 6'9", who are rebounding almost better than the 7-foot guys. And then you'll have a 6'9" to 6'11" center, who I think, again, in the 90s would have easily been a power forward. But now it's like, hey, that could be your center and we're good. But with the Bucks, it just feels like they may not have an identity yet. Like a lot of the Western teams are running. They're doing that score. Where when people are playing that half court game and running these, I want to say old school basketball sets, it's just not working as much. And there's no question about it. Giannis is their best player, but they have a lot of talent around him to a point where I thought when they brought in Eric Bledsoe, I really thought that that was going to be the player that was going to take them over the top.
I think they still lack consistency in scoring and shooting, and that's a big factor there. I mean, who's their primary ball handler? Is it still Giannis right
It's
now?
I think it's Giannis and Bledsoe.
It is.
And see, Giannis doesn't, even though he has an all around game, he's not the bring the ball up, type of all around game like you would see from a Ben Simmons or LeBron. Of course he's a freak, and he's Greek,
Oh
but
wow, wow.
but I mean, I think that, like you said, the identity is not there with him being that type of player. I think he can still affect the game as much as he does with someone who can help him alleviate him of the scoring duties. Which I say that about a lot of the Eastern Conference teams. A lot of people lack that second guy that can go out there and get you 20 every night, outside of your superstar. And in today's NBA, you really, really need that in order to excel.
I
I
mean, I
think
think
that,
I don't know. I think the only thing I would disagree with is that I think Giannis, theoretically, of course, is better than Ben Simmons only because I think Giannis can actually hit an open jumper. I don't think Ben Simmons has a jumper at all. Like I think his only bet is to drive the ball or pass. Like literally, and of course, this is just in 2K. I don't know if you've ever played against him in 2K, but literally I back off of him and give him the open jumper because he can't make it. He's
even in 2K.
he even in 2K he can't make it. He's not a jump shooter, and I think the announcers in the game one they said it like he used to be a power forward. Like yes, he's got handles, he can drive the lane, but as of right now, he is he can do three things. He can drive the lane, he can pass, he can rebound. I mean that's it, and he can get to the lane. Probably one of the best big men that can actually get to the lane because of his speed and because of the fact that he can dribble. But
And then Giannis,
but see Giannis can actually shoot.
he can.
He can't. He doesn't shoot as good as Steph Curry or James Harden. I mean, I don't even think he's up to LeBron's level at shooting. And I mean, I don't want to play him out, but I don't want to give too much credit either. But
Yeah, I mean, I
I
agree.
think, yeah, I don't want, LeBron shooting is not great either, but it's got better. I think Giannis is almost closer to third, fourth year LeBron shooting than now, where Ben Simmons is less than rookie LeBron shooting.
Yeah, so I mean, if Giannis can't shoot, and you got to
Giannis,
depend on,
I mean, Giannis can shoot, but I mean, compared to Eric Bledsoe, Middleton, and Jabari Parker, I mean, he's just okay.
I was gonna say, can you lean on Giannis's shooting though?
I think you can lean on him in the mid range and the post. I think he's worked on his post game tremendously.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, he can
And
score and he can go over the top. I thought the major difference between him and Ben Simmons is that Giannis come down the lane, he's going over somebody, and you're going to be a poster. Whereas Ben Simmons, I don't fear Ben Simmons as much as I would by any means of Giannis, and I think that's a bigger difference from them as well. But Ben is still a rookie. This is Giannis's what, fourth or fifth year?
something like that, yeah.
Giannis is not even considered like a young guy anymore. Everybody's saying it's his breakout or whatever. He's been in the league for 5 years.
True.
It's about time he's played up to that level. I mean, he's on the verge of being the guy who was great that never went anywhere. Um, I mean, he could end up finishing his career. Well, I can't even say like Barkley because Barkley made it to the finals. Uh,
I mean, there's always a place in Houston for Giannis.
uh, no.
I mean, come on. I'm
But
just saying. I mean, because Giannis and Capella would be great together.
you keep mentioning the Rockets, and we want to jump into that series too.
I'm gonna build up to it. I'm building up to it. I mean, we got one more series. We got one more series before that one. I'm building up to it. I mean, I just want to knock these out. But I mean, Giannis could come to Houston, and him and freaking Capella as that. Oh, it would just be so beautiful.
It
I
would be
can't
cute.
even. I can't even think about it anymore. But I wanted to get your take. I mean, obviously, the favorites of this series, they're winning. But the Raptors, I don't think they're doing anything different. What do we think about John Wall and Bradley Beal? Like, is this their last year together?
Should
Absolutely,
be.
it
Oh
is
Should
my
be.
God,
without
it's
a
Should
doubt.
like
be.
they're
I
not.
mean, they've got too much. There's nobody. Is there anybody in the East that has been together as long as those two that are in the playoffs?
I
Toronto.
don't. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. If Lowry and DeRozan have been together as long, well, yeah, because Beal is younger than those two, so
Hmm.
yeah, I just don't. They're just not doing it for me.
Well, they had the potential to do it, but there's two factors with it. One, Bradley Beal wants to dominate the team, which I mean we all can't argue with that. I mean, if you want to be the superstar, you need to try to take that leap. But at the same time, the management's not making it any better for John Wall to want to stay.
I mean, what has he brought in other than Bill?
I mean, the
Kelly
real question
Oubre.
now is, I mean, they got some pieces there, man.
I mean, they do. I mean,
They
I think
got
they
some pieces,
relied.
like we joke about, but they got pieces.
I
Yeah,
think
listen.
they relied on Gortat and Nene for too long. I think they didn't really establish those bigs that they
Yep.
needed. So they remember, I mean, they relied on those guys way too much. And
They're
I
the
don't know who
They
Blazers
they.
of
was
the East.
they was trying to be the Eastern Conference version of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, and you just see that Grizzlies team, which I don't think they should have disbanded that much and got rid of Fizdale and everybody, but I do think that the
Hold on.
Wizard.
Sabonis just got a flagrant foul for a hard playoff foul on LeBron James.
It's LeBron. You got to call it. You got to. I mean, if it's a premier player, you got to call it.
It
I'm
must
not
be
even
good.
trying to be funny. I'm not even trying to be funny. I mean, if it's Harden, you got to call that as well. You know,
Oh
if it's
no. Harden actually gets fouled every time. Let's not go there.
the same, the same James Harden that I watched. What was it? 2 years ago in the playoffs with 3 seconds left, and instead of taking it to the basket like he's like the top three guy who's able to get to the basket, he tries to draw a foul on the shot.
It was a foul. He didn't try to draw it. It literally was a foul.
Oh boy, here we go.
But I mean, as far as the Wizards go, I mean, I don't even know what the next step they should take. I don't know. It's so weird because they do have that potential. But is this John Wall's last year? Is his contract
Absolutely.
up?
I believe his
Wall,
contract is up, but I can check that.
Wall needs to pull a CP3 or pull any of the other premier players that came before him. He needs to jump ship and
You
go to
you,
a winner.
you know what's going to happen if the Pelicans don't make it out of this series. I think John Wall joins the Pelicans.
And the thing about it, John Wall, I think from since they've gotten drafted, I think John Wall has been wanting to play with Boogie in the pros ever
Hmm.
since
Boogie
they've
would be a
gotten there.
Boogie would be a fool to go to Washington.
I mean, not to go to Washington. I would think John Wall might want to leave and go to, like you said, he could go to the Pelicans. I think that he's an X factor to a team that really needs, somebody who can facilitate.
I mean, unfortunately, they would become the Kentucky Pelicans, but that's
That's
that's neither
actually
here nor there.
hilarious. That's actually
I'm
very
just
funny.
saying. I mean, I'm just
Hilarious. Tyler
saying.
Perry would probably be salivating at that team.
He probably would be. He
It would be
probably
like
would be.
Vince McMahon and the big dog,
The
so to
big
speak.
dog.
Oh, it's boss time.
So John Wall is still on contract until 2022,
I wonder if he has an
but
opt-out
it
clause.
doesn't mean um It doesn't
a
mean that he
thing.
can't be traded.
True. True.
So what is it about the Eastern Conference? Is the Eastern Conference? If you're a premier player, you're an all-star caliber player, no matter what conference. Like you're a top guy, top 10 guy, all NBA, Team USA, whatever. What is it about the Eastern Conference that's just unsexy that you don't want to go to any of those
LeBron
teams?
James.
LeBron James, yeah. I mean, it's just like going to Raw at this point. You got Roman.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, and it's
you
true
know.
though. I mean, granted, I would love to hear, the doc elaborate on that on tomorrow's show, Marking Out Amongst Friends. Catch it live on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
Yes, 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 yes. But I mean, like if I'm Kevin Durant,
sure.
I know it, and this is the conversation that your boy Stephen A. Had brought out, last year or 2 years ago before Kevin Durant went to OKC. He's like, it would be perfect for him to have went to Washington and to have played with John Wall. But they say it was because of LeBron, deep down, that he was scared of playing LeBron, and that's why he didn't want to go.
He was
That's not really.
scared
I
to
don't think it's.
play.
I don't.
It's not the fact that he's scared to play LeBron. It's the
Yeah,
fact
I don't
that
think it's fear.
he literally has to share the Eastern Conference spotlight with LeBron James.
If you're gonna share, you might as well go. Like, listen, if you're gonna share, you might as well go to a team that you know is gonna be able to
It's
coach.
gonna be
So,
him.
so of course, me being biased, I would say Kevin Durant should have joined the Rockets. Because obviously we're swinging upwards here, and we're gonna try to, become the Warriors and try to make this dynasty. But it's more appealing to say, hey, this organization has been doing it right for the last 5 years. I
Hmm.
mean, we all hated when they fired Mark Jackson, but the hiring of Steve Kerr proved to be whatever the missing factor was. So you look at it, they drafted Steph, they drafted Clay, they brought in, actually, they got rid of Princess Peach, Andrew Bogut. Um, they brought in so many other players, and got so many role players that it's a perfect team. It's a perfect 10.
Wow. We're really gonna
Shout
do
out.
really gonna do wrestling reference the whole day, the whole night.
I,
I mean, if we're gonna do this,
absolutely.
I can join in.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's like a perfect 10. I mean, it's like a rowdy bunch of guys together
I see what you
Oh
did
my
there.
God.
that just made, championship runs.
I guess they just signed Kevin Durant and they said, "Here comes the money, huh?"
Wow, we're really hammering in these funds this evening, huh? Hundred
I'm I'm
percent.
I'm sorry. I don't speak English.
That's racist. That's $5. Here comes Helen. Put that $5 in there.
Yeah, that was so funny, Shinsuke.
That is
Um,
not okay. That whole catchphrase is not okay.
Yeah.
that was so funny though. I can't believe he said that. um, but Kevin Durant, I don't blame him. Like I said, I don't blame him for wanting to win. Like when you lose so often, you lose to the Rockets, you lose to the Warriors, you lose to the Spurs, you just keep losing, and it's like you just get tired of losing. And somebody says, "Hey, man, if you're tired of losing, man, you can come play here. You can get paid. We can win not one, but two, three, four, maybe five championships." Remember when LeBron said that? Like, we can really do it. And
Hmm.
I'm sure, Draymond Green sold the heck out of playing in Golden State, and how much the fans love him, how the owner's great. Of course, you got other 3-point shooters. You don't have to worry about
Russ.
Russell Westbrook running 99 speed up the court, faster than you can even get to half court. Like,
Or jacking
that.
up a triple covered three.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. I think the only player that you have to worry about is Klay Thompson, because
Clay's money though.
you don't know when he's
Clay's
gonna
money.
shoot. You don't know when
Clay's
he's
money.
gonna shoot. Like, when is he gonna shoot? You don't know. He gets the ball, and it's like you don't even know because he never squares up to shoot, so you don't know when he's actually gonna shoot. So that's the only thing I can think of. But I mean, of course, the series that I've been waiting to talk about, and you guys have been waiting to talk about all night long, which
And
actually
I'm sorry,
starts
ladies
in
and gentlemen,
50.
we have just ran out of time for tonight. Thank you very much for
Wow.
tuning in.
Wow. Unbelievable. I could see if we were talking about
uh,
the Knicks or something, but I mean, this is one of the best teams in the league.
Oh, that's a
uh,
low blow.
uh,
That's a low.
I mean, it's a Shinsuke. But I mean, obviously, my Houston Rockets, who I hope go 2-0 tonight. I always worry when the Rockets play because I just never know what team is going to show up.
mhm.
Like, am I going to get that team that's going to jack up, you know, 60, 70 threes and make, a good percentage of them? Or am I going to get a team that goes, cold and, we
15
lose
to
by,
35.
yeah, like,
No, no, no,
is
like
that,
9 of 32, something like that.
yeah, like, is that what I'm going to get? So, I mean, James Harden's been playing great. I know a lot of people give him flack. Our local LeBron Maniac has already told me that he doesn't believe in James Harden.
Mr.
Um,
NC Bryan himself. You should probably use
hey,
that. I think that's a great line.
which one?
Mr. NC Brony.
NC Brony. I like it. I like it. We're gonna make that a thing tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna
Right up,
happen.
NC Brony. But I mean, I think the Timberwolves are good, and I was telling somebody that if we indeed did lose to the Timberwolves in the series, I wouldn't be overly upset because this isn't your normal eighth seed. Just like if the Bucks were to beat the Celtics, this isn't, or let's say, well, as you can see, the Pelicans are beating the Trailblazers. Let's just say an eight seed now beats a one seed. It's not as shocking because the eighth seed is really, really good. You
Most
know,
of the time, it is in the West.
it usually is.
Wow.
But
Wow, the referee was not. I'm sorry. LeBron James just killed this poor kid, and the referee almost did not call the offensive foul. Are you serious?
and that
Are you
game's pretty
serious?
close. 4 points right now.
That right there should have been a flagrant two right there. He tried to kill the guy. Come on. It was
Come
like it was
on.
like watching James Harden, having to go up against.
Watch
See where
this.
you're going with this.
It's like watching. It's like watching James Harden do a step back and then step back again, and
Wow.
step back one more time before he takes
Never
a shot,
Wow.
and it doesn't
never
get called.
happens.
Uh
Never
oh.
happens.
Kevin Love looks hurt again.
Oh, he's staying on the injured list. But did you guys see, speaking of trying to kill somebody, did you guys see Russell Westbrook throw a roaring elbow in the
Yes.
first game? Oh
Yes.
my
I
goodness.
missed that.
Yes.
So he not only threw an elbow, he then
Masato
like
Tanaka
reached,
was grinning so much in Japan
yeah,
watching that.
he reached down and threw another shot at him and then ran past him and just gave him a little slap across the face.
Yep.
It was terrible. He got called for an offensive foul, of course. It was terrible. But let's
Now
go
see
back to the
that
game of
right,
the
like that right there. Like let's talk about that for a second. Something
the
like
slap.
that back in the day, like people be throwing hands. He be getting a two piece real fast.
I mean, it was really terrible. Yeah, I think I agree. I think if that was any other player besides the player that it was, I think that they would have got up and I mean, Rubio isn't getting up and trying to fight anybody.
No, no, but
You
that's why
know,
you have to have those goons though.
I think if that was, you know, Rondo or somebody, they would have been ejections.
I think if it was Rondo, Rondo would have been ejected before he even hit the person.
Yeah, there's no way that would have went
Like
down. I
maybe like
think
six
if that was
millimeters
anybody
away from the
else,
person's head. Technical, get out of here. Like he
yeah, I
basically
don't
get
think
the
that
Rasheed
happens.
Wallace treatment.
Yeah, I don't
Black,
think that
you're
happens.
gone. I told him to stop staring at me.
Wow. That's just like the last one of the last games of the season. I think Chris Paul got ejected for mimicking the ref.
That was
No,
hilarious.
He didn't get ejected. He actually just got a technical. Excuse me.
But that still was hilarious, though.
It is hilarious. Actually, I think they they marked him out of bounds. I think he was dribbling, and I think he gave a high five to James Harden's mom or something. It was pretty hilarious. I just couldn't believe it. But again, so the Rockets. I mean, obviously, if we win
See,
the
now you made
series and
me.
we
I'm
move
sorry,
on,
you just made me think of Brandon Flowers when he threw the flag into the stands after he got called for a flag.
oh, wow,
That was hilarious.
that was hilarious. But I mean, but I think ultimately the playoffs have been great. I think that you know it's as expected. I think the only team and only games that were a little different and unexpected to me was the Pelicans and the Trailblazers.
Not for me.
Trailblazers are not good defensively. Um, and it's kind of like the same thing that happened last year. I mean, McCollum and Lillard both can fill the basket up, but when you got guys like that can score, when they go cold, they go cold. And when you have when they go cold and they're not stopping anybody, you can't expect to win any games. And it's time and time the same thing that we see with that team. Even back to right after they let go of Marcus Aldridge. I mean, they haven't really replaced him in his scoring in the post that they had since he's left. And I think that's one thing that they do need. I mean, I've never liked the double guard combination by itself, and I think I don't know if I said it earlier, but I was trying to say is that Washington is pretty much like the Portland of the East. They don't. I mean, they can go out there. Not Lillard. Wall and Ball can go out there, but it's just they lack that post game. They lack the post scoring, and they can't do it by themselves. And they're a lot defensive. Beal and Wall are a lot better defensively than Lillard and McCollum. But I mean, you can't just survive off of just 2-man game. You got to have something else. The Blazers need to add another dimension, maybe another 2 dimensions to that team before they'll be ready to compete.
I think they might have too much money tied up into, was it Jokic?
Jokic, yeah.
No, yeah, I don't think he's that good. I mean, he's good, but I don't think he's that good.
He's okay.
Yeah, I think he can make a lot of money though. Yeah, he makes a lot of money. I mean, he's making Jerome James money.
Oh my God. Took it back.
He's making Chandler Parsons money out there.
I was going to say that next too. I was like, you better say that because I'll say that right afterwards.
Is he making Eddie Curry money?
Ooh, Eddie Curry money. But Eddie Curry had so much potential.
He did.
If he could have just stayed in shape and wasn't lazy.
That's asking a lot of somebody.
That's not for a guy making that much money. He was making a lot of money. He was a double machine. Like all he had to do was, because I think they were getting paid to come in shape. So it's like you come in shape, and it's like, come on. But I think just looking at it, the only teams that we didn't talk about really were the Jazz and the Thunder. The Jazz are currently winning 53-46. I know we talked about it with James Harden off the stream, but with Paul George, a lot of people are saying that he's shaking his playoff woes. What do you guys think about that?
I think that I don't know. I think Paul George is more comfortable. I think Paul George, with a lot of guys that have found themselves in a position like all-stars that have come in and not had to be the guy. I think Paul George is comfortable knowing that he doesn't have to be the guy, and it makes him more confident out there on the floor. I can't really give too much praise to that team, though. Even though Paul George is playing great. What was his name? Playoff Paul? Is that what they call him?
Something like that.
Yep.
Playoff Special K or something like that.
Special K.
But I mean, he's
like
just.
Cereal?
I actually like Special K. I think Special K is delicious.
Don't speak such blasphemy in our podcast, sir.
Now, if we're talking Wheaties is trash.
I used to love Wheaties. I'm not gonna lie.
Chris, we're gonna need to cut J. Rich's mic because he's speaking some nonsense. Like he's talking like a Romanite and a Lebronomaniac at the same time. We
at the same time. But honestly,
no, because I had my mom buy a box of Wheaties when I was a kid just because of Jordan, because I was such a Jordan fan. Right. And the first bite that I took out of the cereal, I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible.
Is this what it takes to be a champion? I will say that I think out of my favorite regular bland cereal, I would say that I did enjoy Total the best. I will say that Total. I don't think they make it anymore now, but I think Total was my favorite cereal. I think if I was talking about like a Special K or Corn Flakes or something like that, it would have been Total. But I don't know. I just don't know. I think that some of these teams are Wheaties, and others are Special K. Right now, I don't know. I mean, they all can't be Fruity Pebbles.
Wait, hold on. We have a game right now. 92-95 with 46 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Indiana just scored a 3 to bring it up to narrow it down to 3. They're playing defense right now. We're doing this live, ladies and gentlemen. This is happening live. That was an offensive foul. Offensive foul just called on
I can't believe this
Paul George. They're about to blow a game. Are
you
they
mean
really
George
gonna
Hill?
do
It was George Hill. George Hill.
It doesn't matter. He's a bum anyway.
I think, I don't know. They'll probably call something stupid at the end of the game, or somebody will miss a 3.
Or LeBron James is driving it in, and someone put a finger on him, and he act like he just got shot with a shotgun.
I think it'll probably be one of those legendary blocks that LeBron does right now. They're gonna set it up specifically so he can get this legendary block. It's gonna make sure it's legendary color.
Oh gosh, why am I picturing it now? It's like, actually, there's 2 scenarios I just thought of in my head. You're both gonna laugh at this one. So the first one is LeBron get a block on Victor Oladipo, and he says, "Is this your Pacers?" But it's not as funny as the other scenario I just
Victor Oladipo though. Victor Oladipo, wow, like from last season to this season, and I know you're going to say that it was Russ.
It was
Russ.
Bad, but he was putting up those numbers before he went to OKC.
Think about who
like he put up the same numbers in OKC that he did in Orlando. I don't know what was in the water when he went to Indiana.
But think about it like this though. James Waiters, who we bash religiously on this show, ended up being a freaking beast in Miami as soon as he left Russ. We're talking all-star caliber player right there.
I mean, he's good. I don't know. I think that we always, when we look at people who played with Russ, we always think of, Andre Roberson, Afwalo, some of those guys.
You did not just say Andre Roberson. That's like saying Mr. Jack Swagger and the Great Khali in a freaking wrestling argument.
Oh my God! I can't believe somebody did that.
Andre Roberson, what was his free throw? What did he go 2 for 20, 2 for 21 in that one game? Oh my goodness! I've never seen a guard shoot the free throws that terrible.
I'm so mad right now. Why did they foul?
Who fouled?
So Oladipo missed a 3, and then LeBron got fouled, but they didn't need a foul. They had 3 seconds afterwards.
Well, I mean, that game seems to be over. So let's look at some of these coaching carousel that's happening right now. Let's look at some of the rumors. Let's look at some of the vacancies. Obviously, we have the Knicks who are rumored and setting up interviews with Mike Woodson, David Fisdale, Jerry Stackhouse, Mark Jackson, and David Blatt. As our resident Knicks fan, John Gotti, is there anyone that you're actually interested in them hiring?
Mark Jackson. It begins and ends there. It has to be Mark Jackson. Um,
Oh,
I mean, well, I would love to see Van Gundy back as a coach, absolutely. But do I want to see him as a Nick coach? I mean, it'd be great appearance wise, but otherwise, I mean, eh, eh.
Jeff or Stan?
Jeff.
Jeff, Jeff.
Ugh, ew.
You didn't like Jeff?
You didn't like Jeff?
No,
Jeff was better than Stan
Well, ladies
by
and
far.
gentlemen, Jay Rich has to
no.
go. He has some other obligations to try to handle for the rest of the night, or let him leave on that note right there. Jay Rich, you want to pitch your show before you go?
Well, I mean, if I should,
Wow.
it's marking out amongst friends. We'll be on tomorrow night recapping the superstar shakeup from Raw and SmackDown this week, and building up some of the storylines or potential storylines in the next coming weeks. We'll also talk about some of the other biggest stories in wrestling. Specifically, earlier today, the passing of legend Bruno Sammartino. We'll do a little discussing that as well. Make sure you guys tune in, and make sure you guys keep tuning in to Debate Amongst Friends, one of the hottest shows out there. You guys are the awesome. You guys are the greatest.
We just got to think about changing the name. We got to get with Scott to see if we should still call it marking or smarking.
Marking.
But appreciate your time, Sarah, and um, look forward to debating soon.
Yes,
No
absolutely.
problem.
Always appreciate you on the show, sir. Oh my gosh,
No
that's the
problem.
air ball. And have yourself a good night, sir. Thank you very much for joining.
Problem.
We bid
No
you
problem, guys. Jay
adieu.
Rich out.
All right, sir. So you said Mark Jackson. I mean, what
It
if
has to be Mark Jackson. I mean,
I think that
Dave Fisdale would be another good coach to come in. He's definitely a player's coach, and he can definitely rile up people as well too. Like if you had to ask out of all the different candidates that you just mentioned, it'd be those two atop my list.
I think the Knicks fans would riot if Mike Woodson was allowed back.
It doesn't make sense for them to bring back someone they just fired a few years ago. That makes no sense.
And
Like that's
I didn't
someone.
even know Jerry Stackhouse was a coach.
Yes. Which it'd be interesting to see, but I mean, I know he's an assistant coach. I don't know if he's ready for a head coaching gig. Like I don't know what his philosophy would be.
True. And then
You
of
know,
course there's former Cavaliers coach David
absolutely
Blatt.
not. Absolutely not. He and it's not that I don't think that he could coach. He's a dang good coach, especially in Europe. But
Yeah.
you know, I fear for him, not for my team. I fear for him because we don't know what's gonna happen as soon as he gets in. Maybe another megastar decides to come to the Knicks at the same time he
But you
gets
think about it
signed.
though, would him and Chris Stapp bond
Oh,
because they have
absolutely,
that European connection? It might actually work.
absolutely. I mean,
It might work.
it could be absolutely wonderful, but at the same time, I'm still thinking about not. I'm thinking about it in two different dimensions. On one dimension, I'm thinking about how it's going to equate to wins, but on the other dimension, I'm trying to figure out how it's all going to work out when it comes to the front office and their involvement with player personnel decisions.
Got
Be-
it.
like,
And I
and if
mean, it
anything
depends.
else,
And I
like
don't.
that's the only thing I worry about David Blatt is the fact that he really didn't get that chance.
I
So he
don't
could be
think. I
coming
don't.
into a next situation feeling jaded, you know,
True.
and gonna take it out on my organization, which I don't want, but it's a possibility that can happen.
See, now I think with the bigger name coaches like a Mark Jackson, like a Jeff Van Gundy,
Hmm.
they're gonna want that roster control. So
Yep.
it's gonna be interesting to see.
And I think both of them would deserve it. Would you disagree with me with that?
See, I don't know. I feel like they've been out the game for so long. Like I just don't even know. I mean, of course, Jeff more than Mark, but
I was about to
I
say.
mean, but I just feel like they've been out of the game
I was
for
like,
quite
Mark
some
was just
time.
out
I
the
mean,
game,
even
what, 3 years?
I feel like it's been more than 3 years
I
for
mean,
Mark.
it's
It
going to
seems
be
like,
four at the end of
uh,
this season.
but I mean, you step away from the game that long. I mean, I don't know. But I mean, I get it though. I think Jeff has been out for a minute.
He's been out for a very long time. That's why I say it's not worth it because he's going to have very, 90s early, and I mentioned this to you, before the podcast, a very 90s early 2000s mentality approach to the game, but it's not like that anymore. It's not a
It's
big
definitely
man
not like that.
dominated league anymore. It hasn't been that way for about 10 years, if you really want to be honest about it.
This is true. So the next team on the list is the Phoenix Suns, who currently are in talks with Mike Budenholzer, who is the Hawks coach,
Hmm.
as well as David Fisdale. I think David Fisdale in a growing Suns team might be a great fit.
I would not wish that on Dave Fisdale. I like Dave Fisdale. You like Dave Fisdale. He should not go to the Suns. It's a literal wasteland out there. I'm not saying because it
Oh,
sucks. I'm just saying that that's just how it is. Like it's you don't want to coach there. Just don't do it. They're not going to compete for a championship. The management suck. They really don't care, and that's just me, not just me living there, but I know a bunch of diehard Suns fans out there. My former
right.
barber would sit there and talk to me about, the Phoenix Suns front office. And
Mhm.
it's been the same way back then as it is right now. It's not going to change. They're stuck in their
Wow.
ways. So I would not want Dave Fizdale to become a coach there.
And I mean, obviously, the Hawks coach Mike Budenholzer had that same situation in Atlanta. I mean, why would he want to go and basically do it all over again in Phoenix? But you're saying it might be
More money.
worse.
More money.
Money, 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 money.
I mean, it's
Interesting.
always about the money.
True. This is true. So I think there doesn't show any other players here, but what if, and this is just me throwing it out there,
Hmm.
Jason Kidd goes to the Suns.
That'd be interesting because I believe he played. Did he ever play for the Suns? I think he did.
I believe he did early in his career. He did.
I know he
That
got
would be
drafted to the
interesting.
Mavericks.
No, he definitely played for the Suns very early in his career. I remember. I
Chris
think
is
I had
fact
a
checking this for us.
I think I had a card of his. Yeah, he played for the Phoenix Suns from '96 to 2001.
You're right,
So
but he
so
did
that
start
was
his career at Dallas. So okay.
he did. So it would be interesting to see him go back. Maybe that's a good opportunity for him.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, why not? So the next team here is the Hornets, who are looking at the Greg Popovich tree. I think this is an assistant that gets a lot of looks. Ettore Messina, he actually gets a lot of praise
Hmm.
as one of Greg Popovich's coaches. So I think he would be a great coach in this particular league. And as per ESPN, the other candidate is Jerry Stackhouse, who is the coach of the Raptors G League team. That's what he does.
Yes.
And Jerry Stackhouse is actually also in the running for the Magic job as well. Um, which so Jerry Stackhouse seems to be, hey, a pretty good candidate. I don't know if he would be good for the Knicks. I think the Knicks need somebody with experience,
Hmm.
like a Mark Jackson, like a David Fisdale, and definitely not Mike Woodson.
Nope.
But the Magic might just need a familiar candidate, somebody that they know has experience in winning. I think that looking at the candidates, the top candidates, outside of Jeff Hornacek, I just don't think he's a good coach personally.
Nope.
But he's here. I think he might be he should hang it up. But what is your thoughts on a candidate like Frank Vogel? Does he get another shot somewhere?
I think he deserves it.
Maybe
He's
he
a
go.
heck of a coach.
I mean, the Magic is tough. It's tough to go to the Magic.
It really is. Like the Magic situation is oddly similar, if not completely similar, to the Phoenix Suns.
It's
Like take
rough.
exactly what I said about the Suns and replace the Sun logo with the Magic logo.
And I mean, he played on or not played, but he coached on an Indiana Pacers team that really was good. They just couldn't get over the hump. As Jay Rich mentioned with Kevin Durant, I just think that it was too much for them to overcome playing LeBron every year. And basically in Orlando, I mean, I think they're all over the place with their roster, and they're probably going to have to go through a process of their own.
Hmm.
But yeah, Frank Vogel's there. Um, Mike Woodson as I just don't. I don't even know. I don't even know. I guess the only other name that's on here that would be ridiculous, and I don't know. They would have to throw a stupid amount of money, power. Like he would have to have more than just a parking spot with his name on it to draw him away. But Villanova's coach Jay Wright came up in some searches. They would have to throw him everything.
They're gonna throw and the next one at him too.
They would have to throw him the works. Like he would have to get free. Like they would have to pay for his his meals. I mean,
I
I
mean, red carpet, everything.
yes, like everything to make him leave his dynasty. I think you got a better chance of getting Calipari.
I'd be interested to see how that dynamic would work.
I think you get a better they get a better chance of wooing Calipari away. It's funny because I was actually with my job I was actually talking to a a Kentucky fan, and he says, John Calipari, he's a good coach, and sometimes he gets us the wins that we need. It's just sometimes you just don't know what to expect. And it would be interesting to see him getting another opportunity in the NBA with a different franchise. I'm
Hmm.
sure he's probably waiting. He's probably waiting for the New Orleans Pelicans so he can change it literally to the
To the
Kentucky Pelicans.
exactly. I mean, first of all,
Uh,
that just doesn't even sound right. But
hey, Kentucky basketball.
ha,
But other than that, sir, I mean, this is our 100th episode, and I think
I think we are in game, sir.
at in game.
So let's get our final thoughts out the way. Sir, what are your final thoughts for this century mark of an episode?
Well, I mean, definitely some somber news as we were doing this show. We did hear that Greg Popovich's wife did pass away. So definitely condolences to the Popovich family. I found that to be definitely troubling. I can only imagine, what he's going through at this particular time.
Yep.
So definitely, wish him well. Um, and of course, speaking of the Spurs, we still don't know where the Kawhi Leonard San Antonio Spurs this saga is going. I did see a troll post earlier in regards to Kawhi, and in this fake ESPN article, it was saying that the reason why Kawhi wasn't coming back is because Greg Popovich continued to badmouth President Trump, and he
Interesting.
was it was ridiculous. Like, I mean, one of the weirdest things I'd ever seen. I was like, I would hope that that's not it. But I understand Kawhi. I mean, he's a young guy at 26. I mean, this could be one of those situations where he's potentially not. 100% sold on playing basketball. That
Hmm.
definitely does happen very often. And maybe he's just trying to get his mind back to it. And he might have had this might be his first injury. We don't know, but we do know that Spurs have said that they don't plan on trading him. But other than that, sir, I'm just excited to get through 100 episodes. Look forward to 1,000 more. And I know we definitely will have some new shows, some new things coming up, and you know, I just look forward to doing it, man.
All right.
Just gotta just gotta enjoy these moments.
No, that makes sense to me. So I have two
Enjoy
things in the
these
realm of
moments.
college athletics.
Boom.
So remember how we talked about Kevin Ollie and how he got fired if caught, but they never really elaborated on the cause.
We
Well,
did.
he is actually going to basically sue the
Hmm.
university because he had an option or he had a he had a clause within his contract that allowed him to refute the cause of his termination. It was guaranteed in his contract. Um, in addition to that, he also missed out on a potential $10 million termination buyout, which is like big news right there.
That is.
That's oh, look at that! James Harden just played defense, got a steal. Uh, you see what I did there? Um,
I do.
so yeah, so he's basically, and this is a Bleacher Report item, but Myron Melcalf of ESPN.com basically showed some excerpts from the letter. I'll read it actually right now. From our review of the facts and circumstances relating to Coach Ali's employment status, it is apparent that the University of Connecticut has already violated Coach Ali's right under the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution by subverting Coach Ali's opportunity to respond to charges and evidence in a meaningful way in advance of the decision to terminate his employment. The public record action taken and authorized communication by representatives of the University of Connecticut demonstrates that the decision to terminate Coach Ali has already been made, and therefore the University of Connecticut has effectively negated Coach Ali's property rights protected by the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. So that's going to be something that I can't wait to get more information about as it's coming along,
Absolutely.
because that's pretty big. But the other big thing that's happening in the realm of college athletics is the Division One Council has now approved uh, for fans to buy alcoholic beverages at NCAA championship events.
Hmm. I didn't know that there was a ban there.
There was a ban there, and
I always know that there was, hey, after a certain point, they don't sell bottles, or maybe they always sell plastic, but you're saying that they just don't sell alcohol at all.
yes, well, and
Mm.
they're basically expanding the ban even further. 2 years ago, they allowed beer and wine sales to fans in general seating areas at the College World Series, the baseball. They also did it at the New Year's Six games as well.
Mm. Interesting.
So we shall see, whether or not they will embrace this decision or come to regret the decision. But, more stuff for us to try to find more information as it comes along.
Absolutely. I
But,
think
sir,
there was one more. I
go
think
for
there
it.
was one more final thought that just popped in my mind. It was involving Tom Brady, actually. I know we went mostly basketball today, but
Hmm.
Tom Brady actually is being, or they're saying at least that Tom Brady hasn't committed to playing for the Patriots just yet. Have you heard anything about that?
I have. It's basically been in the same realm as you just got finished mentioning. Um, and it could just be a power play. I mean, for all we know, this could be a ploy, and of course, this is all subjective stuff. This is us just
Of
not
course.
necessarily trying to have reads, and we're not trying to media bait people, but this is just a
Of course.
potential theory that we might have. But he could be trying to lobby to get Belichick out of New England.
And we've spoke about that. I know you posted that great theory a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know. I think Tom is that LeBron of football, kind of in a way. But I guess he cheats, so it's a little different.
LeBron cheats too. He just has the rules more geared towards him though. It's not like blatant cheating. It's like, oh well,
It's
you're not
subtle.
supposed to do that, but the referee's gonna give you the call anyway, kind of thing.
It's subtle. It's very subtle. You could tell that it's
Yes,
present.
bingo. But
But
ladies
yeah,
and
we are
gentlemen,
in game.
we are. Doc, you said you had a track for us tonight. What was the track?
So, in respect to someone we hold high, I think that it's for the best
For the
that the
best.
way we start our show for the 100th episode is the way we should end our show. So, with that being said, we're going to go with our man, Croup Dog, and I have selected Circle of Winners from the TWC album as our 100th episode track.
This sounds great, man. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. If you're tuning in for the 100th episode, we thank you very much. And if you're tuning in with us for the first time, welcome. This is Debate Amongst Friends. We are a sports podcast that happens every single Wednesday night at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, you can catch us offline on Google Music, Google Play Music, I should say that correctly. iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn, um, and any and all podcast applications on your Android and iOS devices. You can follow Debate Amongst Friends on Facebook at Debate Amongst Friends. You can follow our Facebook group as well. Follow our Twitter at Debate Amongst Fra, our Instagram account at Debate Amongst Friends. You can follow myself at Kin86. You can follow the Doctor at TL Double. You can follow the Duke at Duke of Pigeons on Instagram. You can follow Jay Riddy at Mr. President 86 on Twitter. And we thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I am the Professor John Gotti.
And this is Dr. Wednesday Night himself.
And for the 100th time, good night, mwah, and good bye. Bang!
Taste the ocean.
I love it and I live for it, never stopping a minute, always leaping on the track. My bars missing the rivet. These niggas here are my tenants. I own it while you having it. It's never ending, and all of the payments I will be winning. All cause of my pen, the way I spit it is prison. The middleman, yeah, we did it, and now we having attention. City and Chuck ripping. If venom, they are delivering, leaving you in a ghost. Say your body is shit.
I'm running circles round rappers. I rap with a purpose. To win the circle got verses. The reason rappers are nervous. The reason Jeter is cursing. Cause city sleeping and storming. Reason city is sleeping cause other rappers are boring. Rappers are boring. It's the reason Chuck is recording. The fact that Chuck is recording. It's the reason bitches adore him. The fact that bitches adore him. Make them cocky as hell. And it's the reason that we give them extra copies to sell.
Big game insane, you get me? You ain't no skills to him came. You with me? Either that or against me. I'm young, fly, and witty. Your top five ain't got enough hotlines for city. They send shots but miss me. I'm untouchable. The reason they don't fuck with you. Spit fire amongst liars. They uncomfortable. Yeah, still slick city the ruler. Student of the game, peep the way that I maneuver.
Vivid imagination, it leads me to darker places. Conjure emotions, but stirring in the mix with that Jamie. The combination's crazy, basically mirrors me lately. Constantly chasing work to Casey. Yeah, maybe it's destiny for me to become a leader. Speaker for the believers, overachievers, and reachers of another level. I never settle, you feel the tremble when he walk by. Facing his step, you niggas
I'm
smart
out of control with this. Deep shit I spit, give your soul a twist. I'm dead next. Beast in that best, it's over with. My block gave me what I need to rhyme crazy. I got fans in Amsterdam, man. I'm around the globe with this. I'm certified, these beats get murderized. They sense I'm the truth, even if they never heard a line. Yeah, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to. Reppin', you respect it, cause I'm moving like a soldier.
Flow tighter than jeggings, he's on his Brandon Jennings. Going buck, he don't give a fuck if you with it, he get it. You need a message, so check him, leave you guessing. Can't even tell the direction, no question, words are my weapon. Use it, but don't abuse it, my groove is deadly, believe me. If you choosing to fuck with us, know that you'll never leave. We giving you what you need, please take a second to breathe. On city, you crack your teeth all over these fucking streets.
Another rhyme, another time, never mind state. Cut me in half, now I gotta give a light 8, cause my other 8 wasn't overload, gotta give you a whole plate. And you know it's full for the soul, record on Sunday. Feeling like a Monday, cause I'm back at work. Giving you a full day of 9 to 5 work. Overtime is being put in, though I am getting inflamed. The white good and milk you like some pudding.
Yo, the winner's circle, travel with caution. Tracks with crew, try waking city truth walking. Cruise targets, who's cruising, thick wallets. Chuck Simon, Rex Cruz, they will colic. We crash trucks, we're cut to rap cats. Tracks were cracked up, we could trash, you can't tuck. Whatever comes to rap C4s, tied with cat twine. Watch Sereno tackle with crew torched.